name is Patu. I'm going to catch y'all up on my February and my March shorter lists this time. I'm definitely for sure going to ramble, but we'll see how it goes. For starters, some stuff I did not write down, but it's just on my desk. Ton of CDs. I've been fully transitioned off of vinyl and back on CD waves, and my wallet is thanking me. Got some cool standouts. I won't go through all of them, but here's a handful. So whatever these are. Oh, actually, this one's cool too. Some Scratch Perry reggae stuff. African Head Charge. Also very cool. This one I'll say for last because I already am thinking of a tangent. An Otis Redding live album. I have spoken about it before, but the Monterey Pop Festival performance, I need a physical version of that. And I don't even know if it exists, but on the off chance, I'm not looking it up. I just want to run into it in the wild and have like the best feeling ever. That's not it though. I listened and that's not what I was looking for. This is a Popol Vuh album. Have not listened to it yet, but was talking to the person that worked there and they put me onto it, called In the Gardens of Pharaoh / Agiri. And 3 of the songs are an hour long, so spacey, transcendental. It's kind of like psych / chamber music / krautrock adjacent. Cool stuff though. Was in a bunch of soundtracks for Werner Herzog movies, so I don't know if Agiri is like the soundtrack to Agiri. Hopefully it's not, because to be honest, I did not like that movie. And the last holy grail is this John Fahey album. John Fahey being a 12-string guitarist, steel guitarist, American primitive folk music player. Really, really great. I've talked about him before, ran into that in the wild and was so excited. And it has been the CD on deck for like 2 weeks straight. It's really good. Oh, and then this is the last one. This is Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah Band. There's only one song that I know on here, but it is like a very cherished, beloved song. It's called Sun Shower. It's nice, sort of like bright, jazzy ensemble, whatever. But I was put onto it in middle school, and it was in this radio set that King Cruel did in like 2011 for, I don't remember what radio, but anyways, middle school me, being hella into King Cruel, listened to it religiously, and it really broadened my horizons musically. There was a bunch of like ska stuff because his uncle was in a bunch of ska bands, so there were like a bunch of random deep cuts of that. There were a bunch of like jazz songs, also a lot of ambient / like instrumental music, which at the time, like my little brain exploded. I was like, songs can have no words, what? But yeah, there are some like standout good songs that I liked at the time, but in a way that I wasn't able to articulate or like understand, because like I'm a baby child, and I'm listening to like Portrait of Tracy by Jaco Pastorius, and I only learned what like false harmonics are like last year. So a lot of that stuff I've like ingrained and like poured over, and now being able to like revisit it in a way that involves a little more understanding is really cool. But yeah, that whole like, I don't know if it's like NTS or whatever, but Sun Shower by Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah Band was one of many songs that I liked in there. It opens with Illuminated by Arto Lindsay, which is another really great song. And he just like as a person is like so tangential to like not the Modern Lovers. What is their... Oh no, I can see it in my head. The album cover is white. It's a pair of lips that has like a red heart on it. I think it was the opener to my playlist in February, which is like another cool connection that like even current day I'm still listening to the same stuff that I had found all the way back then, 13 years ago. Damn. But yeah, anyways, it's still what I'm into, which just goes to show how big of an impression it made on me. So finding it in the wild and like remembering, like memory lane, flooding through, really cool. And I don't know, just all of it was like super formative to my taste in music, outside of like putting me on to like, you get the idea. What else? There's some books on my desk. Some that I just finished. I'll talk about these later, I suppose. This is stuff I'm in the middle of, that I have up from the library. That's upside down. Some Rimbaud. This is called Illuminations, a poetry collection. I'm 70 pages in, liking it quite a bit. And then this is Theorem by Pasolini, which is the novel counterpart to the film. They're not, the intro is like making it very clear that they're distinct, so I'm not going to say like companion piece or adaptation. This is like a short story collection that Arrival was based on, but I don't think I'm actually going to read it, because I started to, but I don't know, sci-fi not what my brain wants right now. This short story collection though was more up my alley. Some Tricks by Helen DeWitt. Helen DeWitt, very cool writer who is like unashamedly very smart and willing to alienate you by like just switching up languages completely. She's a polyglot. She can speak like, I don't know, you know, allegedly like 9 different languages, and she'll dip in between them, talk a lot about like math stuff. I don't know, smart lady, cool lady. I actually really enjoy her writing. And in the last 2 days, I've had 2 different people ask me if The Last Samurai, also by Helen DeWitt, is worth it. And to both of them, I have said no. I personally really loved the book. I think it was in like my favorites of the year. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but the friend that was reading it alongside me did not finish it and actively disliked it, and so I hesitate to recommend it. But I don't know, I liked it, and I have continued to like this. What else? Oh, I'm in the middle of East of Eden. Oh my god, has anyone ever heard of this book before? It's pretty good. I'm like 40 pages in, and already it feels so like gargantuan, like monumental, like monolithic. It's like so good and like solid, and like reading it, I'm like actively impressed and like kind of in awe of like what's happening and how much I don't know, it's crazy. It's so good. I've never even attempted to read it, so yeah, I'm liking it. I'm late to the party. I know everybody loves that book also. I got my bad. Okay, anyways, let's just go through the list, shall we? Because we're 10 minutes in and have yet to start. Okay. Here's the list. Okay, so February. 5 movies that I watched. La Chimera, which is a modern like Italian movie, came out like 2023. Features Josh O'Connor, who is one of the triplets of challengers. Really languid and dreamlike and poetic and pretty and like sunburnt. It's like, it's dreamlike, but it also takes place during the day, so it feels a little like surreal or like elevated. Parts of it also take place like underground, I guess. The whole thing is like hard to describe, but I ended up really enjoying it. I put it on sort of non-committally, and then the credits were rolling, and I was feeling pangs in my heart. The ending of it I thought was so good. The movie and the book of Fat City, the movie by John Huston, the book by Leonard Gardner, they both worked, but they were both trying to do different things. So like, I don't know. The movie actually went on to influence how I read a lot of the books that I went on to read. How am I going to describe this? Okay, so the movie does a good job of like using the exposition and like the setting the scene to the point where like the city is the focal point slash main character, like driving force of the film, but it is also like way more literal than the book counterpart. Like I would say the movie is like a boxing movie, whereas the book is just like has boxing as like a motif. But the book is way more internal monologue driven and disconnected, and it's exploring a lot of like different men in this city that's like dilapidated, and they're like stumbling around like day drunk, and they're kind of like pitiful and like pathetic, and they're all exploring kind of the idea of like pride and what it means to win. Like I said, boxing is a motif, so like some of them will like step in the ring, but it's more about like regardless of if they win or lose, they're still just as like pathetic as they were before. Like it doesn't change who they are as a person, despite what they think, like the grandeur that they are like striving for, being just like a band-aid for like deeper like psychic wounds that they have. And you look at that pride being damaged in the way that they lash out towards themselves or like the people that they're in relationships with. Very dilapidated, very desolate, and like lonely. I really liked it. There's one chapter in particular, they're all kind of disconnected, so like this one stands out. I mean, the scene is like kind of whatever. It's just like this like budding romance between two lovers, by a car by a river, or in a car by a river. But the internal monologue that one of the characters has is so like potent and beautiful and like, profound. Like the fear and like the awe that they're in at the like the weight and like the gravity of their own feelings, and like the vulnerability and like letting themselves, I don't know, like give into desire in general, and kind of like also showing like what they think they are worth. I don't know, just found it really layered and like beautiful. It reminded me of like James Baldwin writing, and like touched like the same sort of like keynotes. Yeah, really beautiful. Loved it. But in the movie, that scene is just a scene. So it's just like a very literal interpretation. There's none of like the internal dialogue. It's just people smooching in a car by a river, and it's like we are not making the same thing at all. But they're not trying to, and they succeed in different ways. I think Fat City does a good job of like having the interiors of like all these buildings feel like lived in and like dusty and grimy and claustrophobic, and some of the scenes, namely the ending, I think is so good. They end differently from book to movie, but I liked the ending of the movie more. I thought it was so apt and like a really good like metaphor for what the book was doing the entire time as well. I won't spoil it, but anyways, very different, good for different reasons. But after reading or after watching Fat City, I was way more aware of like the exposition or like this stuff outside of the dialogue that was going on in books. And in one book in particular, which I'll get to later, I ended up annotating a ton of like that like expository stuff, just because it was like, I don't know, I was looking out for it basically. Some more movies. All the President's Men was on like a political thriller kick, like a newsroom drama vibe of like men smoking at typewriters and looking awesome. All the President's Men was definitely like the best of the bunch. The tone, like the color, and like the like aesthetic, it was so good. I was taking pictures of the screen like it was a concert. Yeah, really, really, really pretty movie. And then the kind of like drive, like the plot was also good. Like it was interesting, but yeah, the way it looked, I was like blown away by. Some more movies. I watched some long ones towards the end. Some like 3.5 hour ones. Drive My Car and Nashville. Drive My Car had like one scene in particular. I liked the movie fine, but there was like a 5 minute run where I was like, this movie is perfect. Like this little nest egg part was so concentratedly good that I was like, this is the best movie ever. It's really like nondescript stuff as well. The two characters go to like a garbage treatment plant, and the like interior of it is just like this really intense orange, and it's just like really jagged, rugged machinery, and it feels like so sweltering and like I don't know, just like nondescript garbage being like burned. Anyways, that cuts immediately to these two characters talking outside on a pier, and the framing is like skewed so that there's a river in the background, but it runs like parallel to the frame, so that the entire top half is just the water and the bottom half is just the pier, and there's like a person standing like right in the middle. Very simple looking, but the water moving made it feel like rotoscoped, and I was just like, whoa, like we have hit the jackpot with this one. And trying to like analyze or like understand why I was so blown away by something so basic, because it's essentially just two triangles and then like a stick in the middle. And so from there, I was trying to like really simplify like what was going on in the frames, like instead of like a color study of like these intricate things going on like in All the President's Men, where it's like, ooh, the shades of yellow and like the shadow over the face, just like two triangles and a thing, like what is going on here? Which doing that actually helped a lot in terms of like understanding like the composition, which then helped me like all last month, because I've been shooting film in black and white, and I've been having to think about more of like the composition and the color. So just cool to see like examples of stuff I'm like working out kind of like unconsciously. And yeah, I'll enough about me. Books. I read Intermezzo in February and quite liked it. I've read all but one of Sally Rooney's books in the last 6 months, so I'm a bit of an authority on her at this point, an expert, if you will. Intermezzo is my favorite of what I've read. I liked Normal People quite a bit. I did not like Beautiful World, Where Are You? And I liked Intermezzo quite a bit. The only difference between the three, they all kind of follow like the same through line, or like the same formula of like people in a relationship miscommunicating. Then you follow them individually as they sort of internally examine their grief or traumas or like trepidations of like being in like what love means to them individually, or like how they're dealing with the grief or like the imbalance of power. I don't know. They also will like dissect their own like politics and like religious views. That happens in like, that's every book basically. The difference is like the scenarios that the characters are in. In Normal People, I could relate to it. In an Intermezzo, I could, and then I couldn't in the other one. If you have like any to like what the characters are going through, I think it's really helpful, because the language itself super accessible. Like I feel like you can really easily read any of the books. They're not challenging at all, but they do land on some like profound conclusions, or like little like pockets of like, I don't know, just like realizations about like the grief or like the acceptance or whatever they're exploring. And so if you relate to them, like if you've also been in like an on and off relationship and are reading Normal People, it's really easy to like have your own life run parallel to the characters. And so when they land on like this, you know, profound, moving thing, it can resonate for you as well, and then just be like a very positive experience. Same goes for Intermezzo, which deals with grief, like a loss within the family. Again, relationship troubles. This one more like age-based, like maturity, and also like what people think they deserve, imbalance of things. I don't know. There's a lot going on. But again, big topics, really easy to follow language. I don't know. I liked it. It's been a couple weeks, so like I'm not like super in the thick of it, but I was moved thoroughly, and I recommended the book to a bunch of friends that don't really read. I feel like, yeah, really accessible, solid. I read Either Or by Elif Batuman, which I think I've talked about before. I liked it. It's very different from The Idiot in the sense that like the setting changes, and so a lot of the characters and like build up of the first book become like irrelevant. Like they just kind of fade in the background as Celine has like her own new adventure in a new place. It just feels like very disconnected. And then also her like intentions and like activity proclivities change to the extent that like I couldn't super relate to it because I was like, I would never do that. And so it felt like I was reading something that was like in my own voice to like reading something very distinct for me, and I didn't have like as intense of a connection, or like I don't know, just didn't work the same. I wasn't trying to be, obviously, but yeah, was not recreated in the experience. The Pale King, I've been reading for like 4 months now. It's been downgraded from physical book to audiobook, and I listen to it before I go to sleep, and I last maybe like 5 minutes tops before I'm honk shoeing. So at that pace, I have like 6 hours of it left. I'm gonna finish it maybe in like November. And then music-wise, I've been listening to a bunch of Can. I was going through their albums in order, and then I got to their third one, which is Tago Mago, and I have not moved past it because every time I go to listen to the next one, I'm like, I need to run Tago Mago back, and I've done that maybe 6 times. It's so good. It's like bar none my favorite. Although the original was, or the initial one was also really good. It's like the blue one with like the robot. I don't know what it's called, like Monster Movie or something. It has You Do Right, which is really good, and it has Father Cannot Yell, which is also really good. But Tago Mago is crazy, really good. Anyways, been listening to a bunch of Can. A single that I listened to was Looking at the Geese by Rennie Conti. Really good, sort of like indie singer-songwriter, very accessible, very unpolished, very pure. Love his like quavering voice and how like weird the lyrics were. Felt very inspiring and accessible, and yeah, just like gave me an impulse that I felt like I could act on immediately, which is always something special. Elizabeth Cotten, I've been listening to a bunch of, same sort of vibe as like the John Fahey adjacent artists, but I just revisited one of her albums and hit quite differently, and I liked it a lot. And it reminds me of one of my old jobs. We had a regular who came in, and they had Elizabeth Cotten, like her name just like tattooed on her collarbone. At the time, I didn't know who that was, but looking back on it, I'm like, she was so cool for that. So wherever you are, God bless. And then last thing for February is Emmylou Harris, which there was only one song I think I listened to that month, which was Star of Bethlehem, which was a duet with Neil Young. But her voice in that song sounds so much like Adrian Lenker. It's kind of crazy. They have like the same like vocal fry and like pitch and everything. And if you close your eyes, it's just like an Adrian Lenker song, and I really liked it. Okay, let me do March in 1 second. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, so while I'm in the music sphere, what I listened to in March, I'm holding up a pen that I don't have in my hand, was Neil Young. I went on a huge Neil Young kick, which I'd never listened to any of his stuff before, despite listening to stuff that was like very much in his wheelhouse, and really liked it. I like his voice, especially like when he's like an old man and it's like crackly, and kind of reminds me of, I'm just now putting this together, but oh my god, what's his name? Tucker Zimmerman. He released an album last year as like an old man. He actually did one with Adrian Lenker, funnily enough. Cool connection. Yeah, he made an album with Adrian Lenker last year. Anyways, Neil Young, really cool. Some standout songs were Tell Me Why, I really like. Hey Hey My, but the acoustic one, like the Out of the Blue, I think. And what's it called? Only Love Can Break Your Heart. I was kind of like thrown off because I had found a cover apparently first, and so in my head that was a Saint Etienne song, and it was like a club mix, and so hearing him sing that, I was so caught off guard. But yeah, Neil Young, a bunch of him. Frank Zappa, I also listened to a lot of. I feel like the same reason I explored Can, like I have certain like bands and groups that like I've written off as like dad music in my head. but revisiting them with an open mind. Popular for a reason. So Frank Zappa, I listened to a bunch of Uncle Meat and really liked it. John Fahey, I've already mentioned a bunch of times, but he has two albums that I've been listening to a lot as well. One is like Songs of Death and Other Plantation Favorites, and the other one is, I don't know what it's called, something Volume 2. I like kind of, the album covers like him holding a guitar, whatever. There's a bunch of really good songs on that I do not remember the names of. Anyways, been listening to a bunch of him. Black Country New Road is doing an album rollout. So there have been 3 singles. All the album art covers are like these hand-drawn little like pastel things that I'm really, really into. And they're all different, which I love, and a good rollout. Kind of reminds me of the Fantasy of a Broken Heart. They like hand draw all their like singles, and it's really cute. And then I was listening to a bunch of like Detroit house / like chopped and screwed stuff. Can I remember any specific ones? One is like a bad word in the title. It's by DJ Assault, and then I think one of them is just named like John L, and he has a song called Detroit, I think. A lot of the album covers are just like men with sunglasses like staring at the camera. And then there's like a DJ Screw song called, I think, like New Friends, New Foes. That was really good. I don't remember off top though, but just Detroit house as a catch-all. Back to books. I read Martyr. Like finished this like last week, annotated a bunch, but kind of like I mentioned from watching Fat City, a lot of these are just like expository. It's not like the dialogue or like any like profound revelations. It's stuff like this. Cyrus fidgeted, putting his hands on the table and then taking them back off. The table, matte metallic black, held the imprint of his hand for a flicker of a second. A little ghost of Cyrus's heat, there, then gone. Just something that's like super immediate and visual, and like I can see that straight up. It's like oddly specific. Yeah, so a bunch of stuff like that stood out to me. I don't know, just because watching Fat City, like a movie made up entirely of those scenes alone, made me like way more aware of them while reading. Of I don't know, just something that I kind of like would gloss over otherwise, but looking out for it, I was like, that's a good sentence. Read the White Album by Joan Didion, some of it, like 5 essays. Liked it. I liked this already a lot more than Slouching Towards Bethlehem, and it kind of played into some of the stuff I was watching and reading at the time in a cool way. I watched the Malcolm X biopic this month, and I think like the second essay it has to do with like the Black Panther Party. And so like just saying like kind of like a voice of a member of the crowd was cool. Then in East of Eden, another essay in the White Album is about like the San Fernando Valley being in like a drought and like aqueducts and water and stuff like that. And East of Eden opens in the same place, talking about the same thing of like these dry summers with something. Everything is talking to each other all the time. I finished the Flannery O'Connor short stories, big book. Really liked it. The last ones that I had at the end ended up being some of my favorites. One of them was like my favorite in the whole thing, the Partridge Festival. I really love that. I feel like it's just like so funny and like succinct, and I don't know. I was really impressed by like a lot of the stories in this. So much so that I feel stupid for like having written her off for like the whole like American Gothic like motif, like genre or like realm of, I don't know. It makes me want to go back and like read a bunch of like stories set in the desert, and see what's going on. I am in the middle of Kudos, the 3rd book of the Outline trilogy by Rachel Cusk. Really liking it. Not far enough into it to like have a concrete opinion, but I'm really getting swept up in like each like vignette that's going on. So far, it's been like 3 distinct scenes that each go on for like 20 pages. It's not so distinct that they're like short story collections, but they're more of like monologues in specific locale. The first one I loved, which was set on an airplane, which like as like a conceit for like a short story, like outline opens the same way, and I love it. I like remember it very fondly. So having it happen again and like having that much more appreciation for what was happening, I just really liked it, like the second time around. Yeah. And then I already held it up, but Illuminations by Rimbaud. Was reading that a couple mornings ago. Made for a good time. Movie wise, the movie of this, or whatever, you get what I'm saying, Teorema by Pasolini, was good. I liked it. I was enticed by it. He is very interesting to me as a person. The movie didn't blow me away, to be honest, and I have yet to find a movie by him that like really has like a lasting or like provocative effect. I've also seen Salo and was not crazy. I don't know. It was like built up so much. Maybe this just says more about me, I guess. But yeah, I'm interested in him as a person. I think that he's cool, just like as a like holding that many opposing viewpoints and like not coming apart at the seams. I think is really impressive. Although I guess like with this subject matter, maybe the argument is that he did. But anyways, I also watched Paris, Texas for the first time. Really lovely movie. You know, worth the celebration it gets. I wasn't like blown away like crazy 5 stars, but I did quite like it. I actually watched I think like 4 Wim Wenders movies in the last 2 months. That was definitely the highlight though. I also watched Perfect Days, Wings of Desire, Paris, Texas. Was there another one? Oh, I'm forgetting. Anyways, yeah, I really liked it so much so that while watching it, I realized that this song I really like by Pig Baby called The Green Hills of Cornamona opens with a sample from Paris, Texas. And so seeing it like, or hearing it, I guess like in the movie itself, I was like, that is so cool. And it's also something that I've been wanting to act on, of just like putting in like random vocal sections of stuff I like, whether it's like voice notes on my phone into the music that I've been making. And so I used that same Paris, Texas scene, which that whole scene is crazy good. Like that makes the movie. The problem is like it's bookended by really powerful moments, but the middle, the like part where they're just like at the house and like picking each other up from school and stuff, was not super crazy about. Anyways, Paris, Texas, good movie. I also watched Three Women by Robert Altman. Shelley Duvall in this, I think I'd said it before, but became my muse purely because of this movie, where her hair is so cute, and as a character, or her character only wears yellow, and her entire apartment is just decorated yellow, and it's like, oh my god, you're beautiful, my daisy, my daffodil. I don't know, just like magnetic looking in it, and the movie itself also pretty good. Some Altman movies can be hit or miss. This one definitely landed for me though. I then went on to break Three Women into 2 parallel movies, Three Colors, and then Certain Women. So I watched Three Colors White, my least favorite of that whole trilogy. Yeah, kind of disappointed by it, but it's whatever. And then Certain Woman by, what is her name? Kelly Reinhardt, I think. The notable, what's her name? Oh my goodness, what's her name? Hayley Williams, Kristen Stewart, and Lily Gladstone are the 3 women in Certain Woman, which I watched after Three Women, which I liked A Certain Woman in Three Women, Shelley Duvall, quite a lot. But yeah, I really like Kelly Reinhardt's movies. I don't know, they're like so understated and showcase such like an intimate and like everyday kind of like suffering that usually goes ignored or like repressed. And it's really quiet and like subdued, and I found it quite powerful, specifically like the Lily Gladstone one that it ends on. The initial one I wasn't crazy about with Laura Dern. Um, was it was I don't know. But I want to watch more Kelly Reichardt movies. I'm trying to think of which one was on my list. I don't know. I already mentioned I watched Malcolm X, which was also like another like 3 hour one. I'm trying to watch longer movies, just because right now I feel like my attention span is feeling pretty healthy, so I can like put it on and just like lock in until it's over. I'm gonna test that though, because I just rented Happy Hour from the library. That movie is like 5.5 hours, so we're gonna see. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is, but I'm building up. I gotta watch. I've watched a couple like 3.5 movies, and I'm going for 5 and some change. And then after that, I want to watch Satan Tango, which is like 7.5 hours, and then the final boss of the art house is Berlin Alexanderplatz, which is I think a 12-hour movie by Fassbinder. We'll see if I ever do that, and if it's in one sitting, I don't know. But yeah, movies I'm too scared to start. Although I have, it's kind of cheating. I have already seen the first hour and a half of Happy Hour, but I'll restart it. I'm not gonna. I want to be able to say that I've done it as a point of pride. Oh, and then the last movie that I will talk about that leads me to some extra stuff is Pawakatsi, which is the second in the Koyaanisqatsi trilogy, which is this like documentary landscape shot sort of travelogue thing, with like a score by Philip Glass. It's really like engrossing and like swelling and powerful, but there's like no words, and it's just like very beautiful. I don't know, I was gonna say like therapeutic and beautiful at the same time. I don't know. This one definitely did not land as hard for me as Koyaanisqatsi did, but there is one scene in particular towards the end where the camera is out of focus, or like it's soft focus, and so the forms that are on screen are just like really blurry, have like very loose borders, and kind of simplify into solid shapes or solid colors, like moving in like strange ways, and I was really drawn to that. The whole like conceit of the second one is like, the first one is like time lapse, and then this one is like slow motion, so it's like really long takes. And so the soft focus one of like just shapes like slowly like billowing back and forth, I was really into, because it's something that I've thought about like with like the drive my car thing of like just making things really simple, like one color, like solid shapes, like basic geometry, and so seeing it like in action of like someone capable and talented doing it, like doing what I had in my head, but like was like a light bulb going off moment that I thought was really cool. So yeah, that's something I've been into. Also watched a bunch of rom-coms in like the last month. I'm gonna try and make a rom-com bingo board, so that my friends and I can like get even more into it, because there are a lot of tropes that are coming up like recurring, and I've like never seen like any rom-coms. I've seen a couple, but like I didn't really like any of them. Like When Harry Met Sally, I watched. I don't know. Anyways, I've been watching a bunch, and gonna keep watching them. And then spring has sprung, and there's a fig tree that I've been measuring my hand against the leaves of, because they just started budding, and now they're so huge, and I don't know, it's been so satisfying. Like every few days, just going out and like putting my hand next to it and like seeing where it's at, and yeah, now they're huge and billowing, and I can't wait for figs. In addition to that, getting some film going. Got some black and white. I have like 6 shots left, and then this big digicam or cassette thing. I have like I shot a whole cassette, and I have an hour of footage. I need to do something with it soon. That's all. February, March, plentiful months. They were very good to me. Doing pretty good right now as well today. It's a good day. Peace and love to all. Goodbye.